Phone folly. Time eventually catches up with all of us. And at the time of this story, my grandfather was the last remaining grandparent that I had. Since my grandmother had passed away, Grandpa had remarried a woman named Rita, and that fact will soon become relevant. Years ago, Mom and Dad were visiting my mom's sister Joanne in Alberta when Grandpa decided to call. Now, it wasn't just Grandpa on the line. Rita was also on the extension phone, ready to jump in on any conversations that were interesting. The problem? They didn't know Mom was visiting Joanne and hadn't expected her to answer Joanne's phone. Neither Grandpa nor Rita realized they were not speaking to Joanne. Now I should mention, Mom and Joanne sound incredibly alike. Grandpa was getting older and relied on already distorted sound of analog phone, and Rita had not had enough experience with them to be able to tell their voices apart. This was the perfect storm. So conversation kicked off normally, but spiraled into madness quickly, and went something like this. Hello. Hi, Joanne. Have you heard from Dorothy lately? No, Dad, this is me. I know it's you. I just called you. No, Dad, it's me, Dorothy. Rita on the extension jumped in with, Why is she saying that? Grandpa responded, I don't know. At this point, Mom was already starting to laugh. Meanwhile, on their end, Grandpa and Rita had launched an investigation between themselves about this. Rita said, Ron, why is she laughing? What's so funny? I don't think this is funny at all. Grandpa, desperate to get the situation back under control, decided to reset the conversation completely. So Grandpa continued, How have you been, Joanne? At this point, Mom was crying from laughter and responded, I'm not Joanne. But before she could explain, Rita snapped back, Why are you saying that? What's the matter with you? And then, the coup de grace. Joanne walked in from the grocery shopping. Completely unaware of what was going on, the disaster happening, and picked up the extension phone to join the discussion and said, Hi, what's the news? Well, nobody knew who was who anymore. Grandpa and Rita freaked out, trying to understand what was happening. Mom was dying of laughter, trying to explain it to Joanne. Joanne was confused beyond belief, wondering why everyone was yelling at each other. It took a full-blown detective effort before Grandpa and Rita finally understood what had happened. Rita, however, was still not impressed. After everyone recovered and laughed and moved on from this chaos, had a great discussion and hung up, Joanne left to pick up one of her kids. Then, just because the universe has a sense of humor, not 5 minutes after Joanne left, the phone rang again. Without thinking, Mom answered. Big mistake. Joanne's mother-in-law, Mimi, was calling from California and said, Joanne, how are you? Mom sighed. Mimi, Joanne isn't home. She'll be back in a few minutes. Mimi suspiciously responded, Joanne, why are you doing that? I don't think this is funny. At this point, Mom completely lost it, laughing so hard she couldn't breathe. Mimi promptly hung up on her. When Joanne returned home, Mom explained how it had happened. It took both Mom and Joanne getting on the phone at the same time before Mimi finally believed it. After that, Mom let the answering machine handle all the calls while people were still talking to us. This is a once-in-a-lifetime disaster of misplaced identities, misunderstandings, and phone-related absurdity. We're still not sure if Grandpa and Rita and Mimi all quite understood what happened that day. Either way, it made for a hilarious moment that will remain a family favorite for all time. Have you ever had a mix-up like this? Tell us about it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this story of phone folly and voice verve. If you did, then I welcome you back often for a laugh and to make our family a part of your family. You might even consider subscribing, clicking on the thumbs up button below. That helps the channel grow, and it'll help me be able to have time to do this more often. See you next time.